So welcome again. And today we're going to be talking, I'm going to give you some tips on saving time. So I say 5 tips. There's actually tips within the tips. So it's probably more like 20 or so. And I also have got a bonus as well at the end, which I'm going to be giving you. So do stick around to the end. But first of all, before we start, just a little bit about me in case you don't, you're not familiar with me. So I worked in the corporate world for over 35 years, and for 20 of those years, I was with one particular company on the senior management team. And at the same time as my rather time-consuming role, corporate role, I also was a property investor, and I started investing in property in the mid-90s. And over the years, I built up a small portfolio of properties, which I've always managed myself. In 2017, I decided I'd had enough of the corporate world, and I wanted to focus my time on the property business. So I quit the corporate world, and I knew that if I wanted to grow and scale my property business, that I couldn't be doing everything myself. I sort of applied everything that I had learned in my corporate career to my small property business. And I heard about the concept of using a virtual assistant to help deal with the sort of admin tasks within my business. And I was informed that the Philippines was a place where you could get great virtual assistants for a lot less money than you have to pay people in this country. So I took on my first virtual assistant in the Philippines back in 2017. And a lot of people were coming to me and they were saying to me that, it was amazing the way I had this VA, as they're called, doing all this work for me in the Philippines, and I've managed to really sort of make it work, and it was such a help to my business, and it was allowing me to scale up. And some people were saying to me that they tried working with a virtual assistant and it hadn't worked out for them, and I would ask questions why, and I found I was getting common answers back, common reasons, common mistakes that people were making. So people started asking me if I could mentor them and help them working with a virtual assistant. And when you're working with a VA, it's not just about having a person. You actually have to think about your business and put systems in place and use bits of software so that you automate what you do and have processes and things like that. So there's a lot that goes around outsourcing and scaling a business. So people would ask me if I could help them and give them some mentoring. And so in 2018, I formed Awaken to Business to help people scale and grow. And I soon found that I was spending a lot of time mentoring and repeating what I was saying to people. And I thought, well, really, I need to be able to scale this business and do a lot more recruitment and provide a service that really does help people and deal with people's problems when it came to outsourcing. So in 2019, I formed Vavavum. And so that is a service under the company Awaken to Business. And at Vavavum, we recruit VAs from the Philippines. We train them in working our own particular way. We train them in software. We train them in processes. We give them personal development training as well. So we train them in how to be outstanding. So we have these great virtual assistants that are working for us, and with clients, we show clients how to systemize software, process, working with a virtual assistant, how to avoid those common mistakes that I just talked about when working with VAs and outsourcing. And that has been very, very successful. And then finally, last year, I formed also another business, Your Virtual Marketing Team, where we do marketing for people. So we do branding, we build websites, we do digital media marketing, social media marketing, all that sort of thing. So as you can see from that, I'm a bit of a serial entrepreneur and have got lots of things going alongside each other, and I still invest in property as well. So I also have a property business going alongside the virtual businesses. So that's enough about me. Let's talk now about how you can save your time, and let's actually talk about working time. So Parkinson's law. So Parkinson's law says that your workload will expand to fill the amount of time available. So if you're setting aside 40 hours worth of your time to work each week, then your workload will fill those 40 hours. You will fill it naturally. That's Parkinson's law. It also says that if you've got limited time, so let's say you cut that time down to 20 hours, then your responsibilities will also contract. So although you were doing before 40 hours worth of work, when the time is limited, there are certain things then that just won't get done. And so if you actually reduce those hours, then what you will find is that by working less time, your productivity is increased. So this is really how we're going to show you how you can really maximize the time that you have available to do the things that you need to do, and how you can, the things that you don't do, how you can give those to somebody else to do. Now, the first thing when trying to reduce the amount of time that you spend doing things is to remove as many distractions as you can. So have a digital detox, first of all. So remove any digital distractions that you might have. So this could be, you know, if a message suddenly pops up on your phone, it's very tempting just to look at it, and then you end up reading that WhatsApp message. Or perhaps emails, chat, or Facebook, you know, just check, oh, somebody's commented on my Facebook post. I wonder what they've said. So these are things that are robbing of your time. So if you have a digital detox and actually stop looking at these digital distractions that we got, that will save you an awful amount of time. And what you can actually do, if you've got an iPhone, you can actually, there's a function on iPhone called Screen Time. And with Screen Time, you can remove certain apps at certain times of the day. So let's say you're working generally between, let's say you don't work 40 hours because you've implemented a lot of the things that we're going to talk about here. Let's say you only work in the mornings and you like to do your work between 10 o'clock and 1 o'clock. So apps such as Facebook and WhatsApp and other messaging systems or apps, you can actually turn those off so that they're not actually even going to be active. You won't even be able to go to them yourself to actually use them. So that's one way of reducing distractions. Another way is, again, on an iPhone. I'm not quite sure how it works on an Android device, but I'm sure they've got something very similar, is iPhones have a do not disturb function as well. So I have my do not disturb function. I should have put my phone on mute. Schoolboy error. Just do that now. I have my phone set so that between, I think it's about 8 o'clock at night and 10 o'clock the next morning, I don't get any notifications at all. So nothing's going to pop up on my screen. I won't get pings like the one I just had there to say a new message has arrived. Yeah, nothing is going to pop up there to distract me. How much email do we get that is spam? Hundreds of emails a week, maybe even hundreds of emails a day. And so much of it is rubbish. And all of this is draining your energy and it's robbing you of your time. Well, every email that is sent through email campaigns, there's a little button at the bottom that says unsubscribe. So just make a habit if you're finding yourself on email lists, and it should not be so often now. We've got GDPR, because you do have to actually show an interest in a business before they can actually email you, but that's not always the case. So just unsubscribe from any emails that you're getting that you really don't want to be receiving on a regular basis. Another thing that you can do is actually, it's not on the bullet points here, but get an EA, an executive assistant. So I have an executive assistant, and that EA actually goes through all of my emails for me, and they remove the spams, but they're also reading my emails, so I don't have to do it. And then they will then, we have Zoom calls, regular Zoom calls, and they will then run through all of those emails that need to be dealt with. And then I will either deal with the necessary ones, or I might tell my EA to respond on my behalf. That is really game changing, to be honest, to get an EA. You would be amazed when you get an EA just how much time you do get back by having somebody else manage your life for you. Use an autoresponder. So you can set up on emails an autoresponder where when somebody sends you an email, it sends out a response that just says something like, due to the high workload at the moment, it's taking longer than usual to respond to emails. So I will try and get back to you within the next 24 hours. So then the person that sent that email knows not to expect an immediate response. Keep a tidy desk and in a dedicated workspace. So make sure that you have got somewhere, if you're working from home, that it is your work area. You've got a desk there, you're only going there to work, and keep it tidy. You know, if your desk is covered with papers and unorganized, you're gonna, spend so long just trying to find things. And it's probably that your head is just as cluttered as your desk as well. So do try and keep a tidy desk. You can limit your time on the internet. So there is a Chrome extension called Cold Turkey. And if you run that, to install that extension, then what Cold Turkey will do will actually limit some websites, so some that you can't go on at all, or you can set certain times of the day so that you don't have access to certain websites, such as Facebook, perhaps, when you're meant to be working, unless Facebook is your work, of course. So that's a really, really good extension. I would really recommend that one. And finally, use a voicemail, or even better than that, a call answering service. So don't feel that just because the phone rings, you've got to answer it, and have that person then again just rob you of that time. People hate a ringing phone. And it's interesting, if you can go into a shop and you can be queuing up at the counter, and there can be a great big long queue, and if the phone rings, then the person that's serving will ignore everybody in the queue and go and answer that phone. Well, you don't need to answer phones all the time just because it's ringing. You have a voicemail on your phone, so use it. Obviously, some people don't like leaving messages on voicemail, so you can always call people back if their number has come up. I actually will never answer a call if it's got a withheld number on it. I want to know who I'm answering the call to. Is it somebody I know? So if it's somebody you know, then your phone, your number, their number is going to be recorded, so you can always ring them back then at a convenient time. Another little thing I like to do is that if somebody rings me at 10 o'clock at night, then I don't answer it. What I do is I ring them back at 6 o'clock in the morning. So that's convenient for me. And you can guarantee them that they're not going to answer the phone. So unless it's a client, of course, I'm really sort of thinking about tenants and people like that. So you can also use a call answering service. So with a call answering service, that is a physical person that is going to pick the phone up. And obviously that's much better than a voicemail. If you're running a business, what we do is we have 01727 numbers. So that's my local number. But that number actually when somebody dials it, it rings through to the Philippines, and then I have virtual assistants that will then pick the phone up and deal with the call. So I have, if you like, my own call answering service, but there are other call answering services out there where they will take a physical person, will answer the call for you, take a message, and then send the message through to you on email. So get one of those. A really useful exercise is to actually track your time, and you see where you actually spend your time, and you'd be amazed when you start doing this at how much time you spend doing low value tasks. So really you want to be only spending your time doing really the high value stuff, the tasks that are going to give you the most results. And there's bits of software out there. We use Hubstaff in our business, but there's others. You've got Clockify, Time Doctor, that's another one. They're all very similar. And what they will do is when you start work, it starts a timer on your screen, and you put in the details of what you're actually working on. And then it takes screenshots and monitors keyboard and mouse activity as well. That might be on the paid version. That's probably not actually on the free version, but just starting a timer and putting in what you're actually working on. And then at the end of the week, at the end of the month, look at the report and just see how you spend your time. And you will be really amazed. You will be really amazed at just how much low value stuff you're probably doing. I always find with Hubstaff though, the problem I have is that I forget to start the timer. So put a little post-it note on your screen to remind you to actually start your timer. Do quick wins right away. So if something comes up and it can be dealt with instantly or just within a minute or two, then do it, get it out of the way. Because that's then not going to be taking up any of your energy at all. So you can do it. It's gone. It's out of your head. That's it, done. Also think about, how do you spend your free time? And are there things that you can combine together? So what do I mean by that? Well, let's say you like exercise. You need to get some exercise. And you also are looking to improve your education, go attend to webinars, listen to podcasts, this sort of thing. Then think, okay, so why don't I listen to podcasts? Why don't I listen to the sound of webinars or audio books whilst I'm in the gym or whilst I'm out walking the dog? So combining different things together is another great way of ticking through some of the things that you need to do. We all get overwhelmed. Overwhelm is where you've got lots of things that need to be done in a small amount of time. And often when you're confronted with this, you've got lots of things on your plate, you haven't got long to do it, then what that can do is lead you to paralysis. So you freeze up, you end up actually doing nothing. So there are ways of reducing down overwhelm, but I think one of the first things to remember when you get overwhelmed is to normalize it, okay? And just remind yourself that this overwhelm is something that we all suffer with. And perhaps in today's life, we can tend to get overwhelmed a lot more than we used to. We've got so many things that are being thrown at us all the time, information-wise, that we need to absorb and perhaps deal with. So one good thing is to, first of all, don't multitask. So if you're doing something, and some people say multitasking is good, you can achieve more. Actually, no, because when you start to try and multitask, your attention comes off one thing and then it goes on to something else. And then you go back to this first thing, and your mind then takes time to get back into flow with what you were originally doing. So avoid multitasking. If you're doing a job, get that job done and then go on to the next one. Now, Some of this does very much depend on what sort of person you are. So there tends to be 4 main personality traits. First of all, you get very creative people, great at coming up with ideas, but not particularly good at implementing those ideas. Creative people get bored very, very easily. So they are very likely to multitask. They'll start something, they won't quite get that finished, they're on to something else, and then they won't quite get that finished, and then they get on to something else. So that's the creative type. Then you get the rather more sort of extroverted person, and rather than ideas, these are people. They're like people. They get on with people. They're people. So those sort of people generally might be very good in sales or in marketing, talking to people, listening to people's problems. Very good at connecting people. So they're your extroverted people. And then you've got down here, then you have what we call the tempos. Okay, so these are people that are very, very grounded. So they are opposite to the creators. Creators up here, head in the clouds, grounded people, very much down here. And these sort of people are very good at systems, putting things in place, working out how to get maximum productivity out of the ideas that somebody has come up with that has been passed to marketing and sales that person sold. They can then get the processes put in place and the systems to actually aid productivity. And then that leads down to this side where you've now got your more introverted people. And these people, what we call stills, they love the details. Okay, so they like spreadsheets, they make good accountants, good bookkeepers, these sorts of people that like data. They like the data and they can process that data and input it into the systems that have been created by the tempo person. So these are the 4 sort of main types of people. And it's a really good idea to understand where you are on that. And if you don't already know which one of those you might be, then there's a test that you can do called Genius U. So Google Genius U, it's free. I think I've also got a link to it on my website if you can't find it, or just drop me a message. It's a free test and just takes like 5 minutes, and you will find out exactly where you fit. And the reason I'm telling you all of this is because it's important when it comes to multitasking, because you want to be only doing the things that you're good at. And then the things that you're not good at, you need to find other people to do those things. So don't multitask and make sure you're doing the right sort of things. Learn to say no as well. So, you know, we get bombarded with people. Oh, you couldn't just do this for me, could you? Oh, I wonder if you'd have time just to do that. And it's very easy to say yes and to be helpful, but actually put yourself first. If somebody asks you to do something, say no or put a time on it. Say, well, I can't do it right now, but I might be able to do it next week. I think I've got a bit more time. They'll go and find somebody else that can do it instead of you. So learn to say no. Remove decision fatigue. So decision fatigue is something, again, that we all get. So when you've got to make decisions, they sap you of your energy. So there is a way of actually removing this decision fatigue, which will increase your performance and your productivity. So how do you do this? So first of all, delegate as much as possible. So again, if there are decisions that can actually be made by other people, depending on what it is, you know, it could be a relative, it could be your wife, your husband, somebody in your family, it could be somebody in your business, it could be part of your team, but find somebody else wherever you can, so that's got the abilities to make the decisions, to actually make those decisions. So delegate as much as possible. If there are decisions that need to be made, then try and do them in the morning. because it's much easier to make decisions when your mind is fresh than later in the day when you're tired, and you will make better decisions if you do them in the morning. Set deadlines as well. So if there are decisions that need to be made but they're non-urgent, then park them. Okay, put them to one side. Don't worry about those decisions at the moment. Just leave until they become more urgent, and only make the decisions now that you need to make. And if the little ones, just make them straight away. So I'm quite surprised sometimes when, for me, I make lots and lots and lots of decisions, and I will do it very, very quickly. You know, they say there's no a wrong decision is better than no decision at all. So if it's a little decision and you've got to make it, just go with your gut feel, and you're probably going to find most of the time it's going to be right. And I'm really surprised sometimes with what to me seems like a really small decision. For somebody else, they could be thinking about it for weeks and not really sort of coming to that decision. So that's just draining of their energy. So get used to making decisions. You don't need to have every single last bit of information before you decide. I mentioned that I'm in property. So now buying houses, as you can imagine, is quite an important decision. You know, you can be talking about hundreds of thousands of pounds, but we're in a market at the moment which is very, very buoyant. So properties are being bought up just within a few days of going on the market. So that means that if you are somebody who I just mentioned, somebody that loves data and crunching the numbers and spreadsheets and analytics and all of this sort of thing, then that sort of person is likely to want to have all of that information available before actually making a decision. Yes, I'm going to buy this property. However, by doing that, you're lengthening the decision process. And then when it comes to actually saying to the estate agent or whoever, yeah, I want to buy your house, well, it's too late. Somebody else has bought it. So you know, this is what I mean about going with a gut feel, and that is a big decision. But I know I can look at the details on a property. I can read it through. I can process some values and figures pretty accurately in my head within a few minutes, and I can make a decision, and that's it. I've pretty much decided. And sometimes you can retract on a decision, of course. I mean, you don't want to be doing that all the time. But if you do make a decision, and you know, when you've got a bit more information, you think, okay, well, perhaps that wasn't the best decision in the world, then there may be something you can do about that. So don't park the non-urgent decisions, make the little ones as quickly as you can. And also another thing with making decisions is remove some of the decisions that you actually have to make. So I'm sat here now wearing this Ba Ba Boom shirt. Okay, now when I'm doing any kind of video call, if I'm meeting with my team, I'm wearing this Ba Ba Boom shirt. I've got about 5 of them. It's not the same one, but I've got about 5 Ba Ba Boom shirts. So that means that when I'm going on a Zoom, I never have to decide what am I going to wear. What did that person see me wearing yesterday or the day before, or last time they spoke to me? So I'm always wearing the same shirt. It's become my uniform. Have a uniform. You look at presidents, politicians, you will see that they have uniforms. Many of them, they will be wearing the same color suit, the same shirt, same tie every time you see them. And that's because they don't want to have to make a decision on what they're going to wear that time. So they've got a uniform and they wear it. Meditation, another great way of avoiding overwhelm. So set aside some time each day just to do 15-20 minutes meditation. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you know, it's hard to meditate. I've tried it. I just can't do it. It is hard. Again, it's one of those things to normalize. If you've tried meditation and you think, oh, you know, I'm really, really struggling with this, you're not alone. Everybody struggles with meditation. Even people that have been doing it for years, it can be difficult sometimes. But when you start to do it, it just frees up so much headspace. And there are some apps actually. One of them is called Headspace. So yeah, there are apps that you can use that will help you with meditation. Another one is Calm, and these have got recorded meditations, guided meditations, doing body scans and breathing exercises and this sort of thing. So I would really recommend getting an app, and you will find that that will really help you to declutter your mind. Okay, tip number 4. Create a routine and a schedule in your calendar. So I'm actually, I have a blessing and a curse, and that is that I have a terrible memory. So everything has to be written down. So everything's in my calendar. I've got different calendars, different Google calendars, private life, you know, pleasure, leisure, whatever you want to call it, my personal calendar. I have my appointments calendar. Who am I seeing? Who am I talking to? What meetings have I got? I've got that on a calendar. And then I also have a task calendar as well. So I schedule out what are the important things that I need to do. In fact, I'm going to click on the next bullet point because that actually relates to this. Every Sunday, I will think about what are those high-level tasks that I need to do over the next week, and I will try and pick 10 for the following week that I actually need to do. I do this on a Sunday, and then I put them in my calendar 2 a day. So this is my task calendar, if you like. So I put them into there, and then I can see each day, right, these are the 2 most important things that I need to get done today. And I don't have to worry about the rest of them. They're planned ahead. Alongside that, create a routine and schedule that in your calendar. So mornings, I think mornings are particularly important to have a routine that you do every single day, a pattern that you follow. So for me, I wake up in the morning. First thing I do is, before I've showered, I'll go downstairs. I will do my meditation, and I'll do a 20-minute meditation every morning. Then I will actually go and do my exercise. So different things, it may be going to the gym, maybe going swimming, but I will do an hour or so's exercise. Then I can come out of the gym. Then I have my shower at the gym or the pool. Generally have the shower. Then I will go to Costa Coffee, and at Costa Coffee, so I think I mentioned earlier, up until 10 o'clock, no WhatsApp, no notifications, all switched off. This is the reason behind this. So I'll go to Costa Coffee with my laptop now, and I will sit there, and this is what I call cave time. Okay, so we can all be very, very busy doing things in life, and not actually thinking about what we're doing, just going through this whole pattern. So so I set aside, by now it's about an hour or so, 90 minutes, an hour to 90 minutes each day, to go to Costa Coffee. I can sit down there, and I can just spend some time thinking about what do I need to do, what do I need to do with the business, coming up with ideas. You know, it's important if you're running your own business, that you are thinking these things through. You're thinking about the future. What's your vision? Where you're going with the business? How do you differentiate yourself from your competition? What are your USPs? All stuff, strategic stuff. So this is what I do whilst I'm at Costa Coffee, without those distractions. And then I'll have breakfast whilst I'm at Costa Coffee. So I talked earlier about combining things. There's an example. So I've combined, I've had my shower at the gym. I've come back, I've gone to Costa Coffee. I'm thinking now, I'm doing my cave time. At the same time, I'm having breakfast. And then I can get back from there at 10 o'clock. And then I can start my meetings. So create a routine and schedule it out in your calendar, and make these things form habits, and then plan out the most important things that you need to do each week. And for me, it's a Sunday. And Trello, I'm not sure if you've heard of Trello, but Trello is a great piece of software that will help you with all of this. So let me and set deadlines. I'm going to just go to the next slide. So yeah, so when you are scheduling things out, make sure that you set deadlines for yourself as well. Okay, so here's a link to Trello. So if you haven't heard of it, Trello is an amazing piece of software, and I think you get away with the free version. And what Trello will do is you can create a list of all of the things that you need to do. So I said on a Sunday, I'm planning out what are the important things that I need to do for the next week. So you can schedule them out. You set the deadline of when you actually want to do it or need to do it by. And then Trello has a calendar view. So you can view these things that you have to do either as a list or as a calendar, and it will then show you what you need to be doing each day. Even better than that, it links to Google Calendar as well, or Google Calendar links to iCal. So if you're on Apple, it really doesn't matter. It links to both. And so then these things that you've scheduled out, these important things that you need to get done, they're going to pop up on your phone as well. So you've got a reminder each day of what are the things that you need to do. So great app, really do recommend getting that to organize your time. Another great app is Acuity. Okay, so Acuity is scheduling software. So, you know, rather than you've got to do a Zoom call with perhaps, you know, your accountant, let's say, rather than, you know, speaking on the phone, can you do such and such? No, I can't do that. Or trying to do it on email and taking so long to set up an appointment. Have an online calendar. And that's what Acuity is. So send people to your online calendar. They can then see what your availability is. They can then schedule it in, and it's in your calendar. It's in theirs. It just saves so much time. And Acuity also integrates with things like Zoom. So if somebody wants to book a Zoom call with you, then on my website, we've got an Acuity link, schedule an appointment here. You click on that. That takes people to the Acuity page. They can book a Zoom call in that. It's going to send out the invitation, the meeting invite. It's going to go into their calendar. It's going to go into mine. Makes life just so much easier. It also integrates with Stripe as well. So if you're a consultant and you need to take payments for appointments, then it will do that. So people can pay for their appointments online. And it also has a forms feature as well. So if you need to gather information from them before you actually have the Zoom call or the meeting with them, then they can populate a form to give you that information that you need. So another great app there. Now let's talk about the art of delegation. So you need to be able to delegate as much as possible and do as little as possible. So delegation is an art. Delegate all of the things that you don't either want to do or have to do yourself. And then once you've delegated tasks to somebody, then let go of it. Okay, put your faith in them and allow people to just get on, do the task. You've given them the instructions of what they need to do. Let people work their own way. And when you're delegating the task to people, focus on the outcome. Okay, so you don't need to tell people how they've got to do things or what they've got to do. When you're delegating out, focus on this is the reason why. This is what we're trying to achieve. Okay, so this is the outcome that we're looking for. Delegate it and then let them get on with it. What are the sort of things that you can delegate? So lots and lots of things. So things, obviously admin tasks. So yeah, all of the sort of general sort of administration tasks, and you can delegate these out to virtual assistants, or anybody, anybody that you can get, maybe family members, friends, whatever, but just delegate out as much as you can. In your business, the sort of things would be admin tasks, marketing, so social media. It's important if you're running a business that everybody knows what you do, so put that out on social media, but don't be doing it yourself. You can have a virtual assistant or an EA actually doing the posts for you, replying to messages on Facebook or whatever that as they come in. Other tasks you can delegate out are bookkeeping. So your bookkeeping, your invoicing, chasing up late payments, and start to build a whole team around you with different people with different skill sets doing this. So if you look at my business, we've got different layers. So as your business grows and your team grows, you can introduce different layers. So we've got recruitment people that are recruiting the virtual assistants. We've got trainers. So they're doing the training, putting the virtual assistants that have successfully gone through the screening process through our training program. Then we've got to the operations side. So on the operations, this is very much the property side. We've got people that are sourcing properties, managing properties, all of that side of things. Then I've got on the accounts, I've got a virtual assistant that's a qualified accountant. I've got another one that's a bookkeeper. So all that accounting stuff they're doing. So I've built a whole team on technical side, marketing. So I've got I've got websites that need to be maintained, websites that need to be built. So I've got web developers, content writers, graphic designers, all part of that marketing team. So big team, different people using their own unique skills to do the things that they're good at. And then you start to introduce layers. So as your team grows, then you put in team leaders. So there's a reporting escalation chain. So you've got your team players, then you have your team leaders, and then we now have a senior management team. So these are people that really can make decisions, that are listening to what other people are saying, deciding on the way forward, decisions that need to be made that I now don't have to make, and advise me on the business and things that they think that we should be doing. So it's not me coming up with all the ideas and making all the decisions. I've got that senior management team in place that will help me. So really important that you do that. If you've got if you've got virtual assistants or staff working for you, then there are other things that you can outsource as well. So we talked earlier about having a call answering service. If you're involved in property, perhaps maintenance people, cleaners, all this sort of thing, as you really don't want to be doing any of this sort of stuff yourself. Okay, so they're the 5 tips. Now, I did say I've got a bonus for you, so I'm going to give you some extra tips on working from home. So I've thrown this one in, as so many people now are working from home. Yeah, it can be some people love it, some people hate it, some people find it really hard. So I'm going to go through some extra tips here on how to be really productive when working from home. So first of all, I think I said it earlier, it's really important to establish a dedicated working area. So even though you're working from home, you're going to a particular office. If you can't convert a small bedroom into an office, then maybe it's a closed off area of part of a larger room where you put a screen across or something like that, but you've got a desk there with a barrier so that when you leave your work, it's shut away behind. Okay, so it's one of the mistakes people make when they're working from home is they're always thinking about work, and so 8 o'clock at night, finish dinner, and then there's just one other thing I need to do, and going back and returning to the work off area to do that. or as we said earlier, or dealing with stuff on the phone. Don't discipline yourself, okay? Because you will be much more productive when you are working if you discipline yourself. So have a dedicated work area. Break your work down into chunks as well. So it's frozen up. There we go. So break it down into chunks. So work for 90 minutes and then take a break. Go and have a cup of coffee, and you know, do something else. Go for a walk, get some air, have a break, and then return to it. And then again, you're going to be much more productive if you do that. Stand up and walk around as much as you can. So if you're taking a phone call, then again, combine. Get up, walk around, maybe go outside, get some fresh air as you're talking to somebody on the phone. It's really important not just to be sat there, you know, for 5 or 6 hours behind your desk without walking around. When you're in an office, you tend to do these things naturally. You've got other people around you. You're going to do a bit of work. You're then perhaps going to go and speak to somebody. So you're going to go over to their desk, or you're going to go and make a cup of coffee, and you're going to stand around in the kitchen chatting to somebody, or going to get a drink of water from the water fountain. So this is all natural when you're working in an office, but you don't have all of that interaction going on when you're at home. So it's really important that you do stand up, you do walk around. You're not getting all stiff and blood clots and that sort of thing. Let your friends and family know what your working hours are as well. So again, people don't mean to do it, but people think, oh, you're working from home, so that doesn't matter. So, you know, you're always there, you're always available. No, you're not. So if your working pattern is, you know, starting at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, through till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and let your friends and family know that actually during those hours you're working. So don't bother ringing me because I'm not going to answer. Drink plenty of water throughout the day. So always have 2 litres, I think, is the recommended amount. I've always got that by the desk, but do drink plenty of water and keep yourself hydrated. Set a routine. So we did talk about this earlier. So make sure you have got a routine, that you're doing certain things at certain times of the day. So we talked about the morning routine before you actually start work, but also have other little time slots as well. So emails. So maybe only check your emails twice a day. So I'm going to check my emails maybe at 10 o'clock. That will be the first thing I do before I start. I'll spend 10 minutes just going through those emails. And maybe another one 10 minutes before you finish. So have that routine. Have your lunch at a certain time of day. Yeah, scheduling, talked about scheduling the time in your calendar, scheduling your lunch break. So you're always at lunch between 1 o'clock and 1:30 or 1:45, whenever it is. And if you can, if there's other people in the house, spend it with them as well. So, you know, you're socializing during that time. Make sure you spend lots of time exercising. So again, if you're not taking the phone calls and going out and walking around, then make sure as you're taking those 10-minute breaks every 90 minutes that you're using that to actually go outside, get some fresh air, having a walk around, stretch of the legs. Dress as though you're going to the office as well. Dress to impress. So you may be working from home, but don't sit around in your pajamas. You know, dress smartly, as you would do just as you were going to the office, because this controls your mindset. So I actually started working from home back in the 90s when I first started working from home. And I always, back then I used to, if I was in the office, I would wear a suit. So it may sound bizarre, but when I was at home, I would wear a suit. And if I was talking to somebody on the phone, I would stand up and talk to them, because also when you're standing up, you have a lot more presence. When you're sitting down, everything is cramped up in your chest, so you don't project yourself quite so well. You don't come across as well. So, and you know, a lot of this stuff is mindset as well. So when you are dressed as though you're working, that puts your state of mind in the right place, and you will come across much better to other people. Have good technology, especially if you're doing, you know, if you're doing lots of Zooms, So it's really important that you've got the right technology. You've got a good background behind you. Okay, people don't want to sit. Nowadays we're all looking into other people's front rooms, aren't we? Is it Wix have made an advertising campaign on it? But yeah, have a good background so that you've got the clutter behind you. Maybe I've got plenty of it here, but other people don't need to see it. So use a good background, have good lighting. So I've got a proper video light installed above my monitor, so I know that people can see me well. I've got a microphone here as well, as you can see, so I know that I've got the best technology here. I spend a lot of time on Zoom, and doing webinars and things like that, so people can see me well, they can hear me well as well. If you want to learn more about what we do, then you can go to the website, vavavoom.solutions. I think if you scan that QR code, I can't remember now if that takes you to the website or if it takes you to my appointments calendar. But either way, you can get to the appointments calendar as well via the website. So if you want to have a one-to-one Zoom with me, have a chat about what you do and see how I may be able to help you, then happy to do that. Well, we'll be doing another one on the second Wednesday of next month, and obviously we'll be posting and sending out emails on what we're going to talk about. Thanks very much for joining me today, and I will see you all next week, next month rather. Bye-bye.